Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
I especially love authors. When LEA HOPE BECKER comes, it's very, very exciting because she is not only has become a friend, but she's a fabulous writer, and she goes from personal writing to writing that's funny to writing that's going to help people. So, The Husband Who Kept His Wife Fat, the great title, great book. What are the comments when people first see the title of that book, Leah?
Well, I think they look at the drawing of the so-called husband. I mean, they assume it's the husband and wife.
Yeah, devil.
And he's wearing a devil costume, and he's got this trident thing, and he's pushing food into his wife's mouth, and she's tied up like she's a prisoner, and they just can't help laughing. And I want you to know that I paid extra to have the title where the words "fat" was large.
Yes,
because that isn't normally what.
No, it was brilliant in what you did, and of course you have been very successful on your diet for the first time in your life. And my question is, you just came back on an incredible trip. Did you gain weight?
I had hoped you'd ask that way up close.
Well, because you don't look it. See, I'm looking at you. You look fantastic. So that's my question.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a short answer and a longer one. The short answer is I came back weighing exactly the same as when I left.
How is that possible?
Unbelievable. And my husband, who's always had very good weight results, came back weighing 3 pounds more.
Yay! Oh, what did he get it from you on that one?
No, he didn't, but he was concerned. He was, and immediately we went on a diet. Now, I did pass up all the desserts. And
was that difficult for you to do?
Well, first of all, we went to Newfoundland. Right. Yeah, I mean, to understand what kind of trip it was. You go to Newfoundland, and it is different than the United States. The culture is different, the weather's different, the views are different, everything is different. And I had one thing to say about Newfoundland. Newfoundlanders, they have made peace with their world, which is really, when you compare it to the United States, they have a lot of problems that we don't have. But they seem to have made peace, whereas I think people in the United States are having doubts. And that shows up for me. But they have lots of restaurants and very jovial, and they have different kinds of offerings. But they always have great desserts.
Great desserts.
Great desserts. A lot of fish in Newfoundland. Newfoundland has more fish than people, many more birds than people. And when I passed up each dessert, I thought to myself, I must be crazy.
Well, excuse me, but isn't it possible to have a spoon or two of the dessert? And that's
in a couple of cases, I did dip my spoon slightly. If Wayne, my husband, ordered a dessert, we would always ask for an extra spoon, and they'd bring out a little plate, and I'd very carefully take the spoon and, just get a few molecules of what it was, and then I tasted it, and, oh, honey, that's delicious. But I passed them up, and I also went into kind of a space where I couldn't eat the whole meal. So I had to have them box up, and they were perfectly happy to do it. I'd say at least half the...
you couldn't eat it because
two things happened. Two things happened.
What?
Number one, it didn't feel like I could eat it. I'm talking about physically. It just didn't seem like I would feel good upon finishing all that food. And the other thing was I was mentally assessing, how much is this compared to what my body is asking for, which is sort of a variation of the first. So I did not gain anything. I did not lose anything, but I've lost 2 pounds since I came back. And
this is spectacular. We have to go back to your book because why it got written. That's why I know so much of this, and our listeners who know you probably remember. But why don't we start off with Leah is a very important writer. She's written books. Let's see. Let me tell everybody the names of her books. It's not listed here. It is listed somewhere here, isn't it? Somewhere, all your books.
I want to
say
the
all
second
of
or third page.
Yeah, I want to say all these because I want to tell everybody the names of her books. Okay,
yeah,
because we have interviewed her for every single one of her books, and they've been really terrific. But okay, here it is. The first one was, I Promise to Keep Quiet After I'm Dead, Maybe. The second was, and these are all funny books. They're just hysterical, really, but they have a lot of reality to it. I Promise to Stay Married This Time. And then Children, I'm Home. And these were nonfiction. Now, the one that was probably the most serious, it's fiction, but it's very serious. My Name's Not Robbie Anymore. And she somehow came up with the idea of people transforming themselves, from male to female, way before it even became the big thing.
Well, it was about, I started writing it about a year before.
Right.
Everyone heard about
it was amazing. So those were the 4 books. And then she has always kind of struggled, as I have, with keeping weight down. And your husband has always been on your back about all this. So she said, okay, I'm going to fix you. No, I'm saying that. I'm going to lose the weight, and that's it, right? So she wrote the book, The Husband Who Kept His Wife Fat. And that's what we're talking about now. So Leah Hope Becker, my question is, it sounds like your book, in writing it, gave you what you needed to be able to keep your weight off.
I knew that in the writing of this book that I was undergoing a process because I was so focused on what it is that I have to do in my advanced stage to make this happen. And I read other books. I read a lot. I read several books on different theories of what some people have to do to lose weight. And I was very conscious of the fact that I wasn't going to the advertised industries for weight loss, that I was not exactly... I was watching TV advertising and thinking, well, I've tried that, or I don't want to try that, or I don't think that'll work, but I'm going to try this. And this happened to be good for me. I am and always have been a carnivore. So I never considered becoming vegetarian because from the time I was a little girl, I never really loved vegetables, but I learned that vegetables are very important. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to have my whole eating routine without some meat. So,
you're still a carnivore.
I'm still a carnivore.
But you eat less of it, and you've added vegetables.
I eat more meat than ever. More.
Now we say meat: chicken or beef?
Chicken, beef, fish.
Oh, anything
Seafood,
that swims, crawls, flies.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
You meat.
So you eat more. You don't eat, though. Dr. Mencia had been on a show, and he talked about food and what he does with food. And he talked about half of whatever, the starches, half of what you want. Like pasta, you can have pasta, but you eat half of it. Now, will you have starches?
I'm trying to reduce carbs to very small grams, but I wasn't able to do that in Newfoundland because they're very carb-rich. So I had more carbs in Newfoundland than I would have being at home with more control.
Maybe it didn't matter.
But I didn't eat as much.
That's what. So you cut down on it, right?
And I got to a point, I have all this food on my plate because their servings are very generous. And I was brought up with the idea that you got to clean your plate.
Right.
And, it
Or
takes
don't you like the food? Why haven't you eaten it?
well, whatever it is, or you're out socially.
Right.
Oh, the last evening before we were on our way home, we were invited to friends' house where they had an enormous meal, where they had a big family and we were guests, and everybody brought a different dish. And if you added up all the calories, if you ate everything, you'd be eating like for 5 people. So that was a big challenge for me, and I had to look this hostess in the face, and she said, "Don't you want the potato salad?" And I said to her, "Well, I have to either decide between the potato salad and the deviled eggs. I'll take the deviled egg, And, you suffer because somebody made it and stayed up, making it.
Right.
And there were other things like that. And then they had these cakes at the end.
Of course.
And I'm famous for, since I went on this eating change in my life, that if I see a beautiful piece of cake, I don't eat it, but I do take a picture of it. And I have pictures of cake.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
this is
I do
hysterical.
this.
You take a picture instead of eating it.
Yes.
And why is that?
Because that way is less fattening, because the camera doesn't make me. I do it with my iPhone,
But you don't eat it, but you don't taste it.
Well, hardly ever taste it, right? I just look at it.
So let's go back to that.
Yeah.
Is it too hard to take one taste and not have it once you get started?
No, that's not the problem. The problem is that I have a memory of having eaten a lot of rich desserts in my life. I'm a very short person. I don't know what I'm tolerant about. Maybe I'm sugar intolerant, maybe I'm carb intolerant. I don't know for sure, but I do know how I feel. And if I have a rich dessert after I've eaten an ordinary meal, I just don't feel the same. I feel like it's going to sit with me and do something, So I take a picture of it when I have a chance. And a lot of times it's when no one's looking.
And what do you do with the picture?
Well, I have it on my phone. I don't know. I haven't learned how to delete pictures very well.
So then what does it do for you?
It just makes me feel like...
You're good. You're proud of yourself. You think it's that? That I passed that up?
I just think it's worth a giggle. I laugh.
This is amazing.
I think it's funny.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm definitely taking a picture of you today because I want this new picture. You look spectacular.
Thank you.
Do you think also mentally you've added something, spiritually, mentally, whatever it is? You're so proud of yourself and what you've become. Does that something?
I'm not quite as proud of myself as you are making me, as you are painting them.
Absolutely should be.
Yeah, but I am prouder of myself than I used to be. But it's a very hard thing to measure. It's so subjective because there's always more that I want to accomplish. I'm losing weight so slowly. It's a glacial pace. Glacial. On the way to Newfoundland, we stopped at the Hudson Valley to pick up another couple. And we have friends in the Hudson Valley because we used to live there. And one couple we went to lunch with, very close friends with my husband, and I've come to know them. And the wife had lost 60 pounds in a year. And I knew her when she was getting plump after marrying. And then, of course, I didn't see her for a long time, and apparently she had put on even more weight. Finally, I asked her, how did you lose 60 pounds in a year? She said she went to a doctor and followed the diet rigorously. And it was a kind of diet where certain kinds of shakes, I don't know which brand, were substituted for 2 meals, and she had 1 meal, and the meal was carefully tailored for her needs. And I said, and now today, she was eating a large salad when we went to a restaurant, and that's all she ate. I watched her. And I said, well, do you still, can you eat 3 meals now? She said, generally, I will have 1 shake, and very often it's for breakfast. And I thought to myself, I don't know if I could do that. Breakfast is my favorite meal. So everybody's different. She lost 60 pounds. She looked incredibly thin. Where I had known her, she was not grossly overweight, but apparently she had 60 pounds to lose, and she didn't look emaciated. So my conclusion is this. Everybody's different. Everybody has different habits, and their bodies are different, and she, God willing, she'll succeed at that weight and be happy and healthy. And some people can't do it or won't do it. And the friend of ours, we went with this other couple, they threw caution to the winds and ate everything. And they're not thin. But they're happy, you know.
Yeah, the reason this is so important and why I'm really delving into this is because this book, although it is fun, and I hated her husband in this book, not Leah's husband, but the character's husband, because I didn't think he was very nice to her. But, in the long run, I think that if someone wants to read the book, I'll bet they also will learn from it and can lose weight. So let's talk about this book not only being a good read, fun, but maybe you'll lose weight by reading it. The Husband Who Kept His Wife Fat. And how will someone get this on Amazon?
Amazon, or if you go to any bookstore, they can order it. But it's not on the shelf because it is a self-published book.
Well, and also because they don't have shelf space anymore. It's very hard.
Well,
so that's the way. It's okay.
There are not many bookstores left.
No, but The Husband Who Kept His Wife Fat is a charming book. It's it'll get you going. Once you pick it up, as I started reading it, I couldn't put it down until I finished it. It's extremely good, and if you are overweight, maybe you'll have more compassion for other people who are overweight, and hopefully you can do it. But Leah looks so beautiful today. I mean, she's always been attractive, but I can see something very different in Leah today. And even though she just came back, she's relaxed. She had her hair done.
I hope my hairdresser is going to hear this, at least on YouTube.
Gorgeous. Yeah, that's right. We're going to take your picture. But Leah, so now, are you wanting to lose more weight than you have already lost?
I would like to lose about another 10 or 12 pounds, but it's going to be very, very slow. I do not want to yo-yo anymore. I use the word yo-yo in the book a great deal.
I know you do. Well, let me ask you this, though. And I won't ask you how much you weigh now, but when you were, let's say, in your 20s, were you thin? Were you ever a very thin person?
When I was 11 years old, I went away to camp and gained 15 pounds as an 11-year-old.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was thin until I was 11. The only other time in my life you could possibly call me thin is in 1980. I went on not a starvation diet, but it wasn't a really good diet. But I lost a lot of weight, and I had a new job, and I remember I spent $2,500, and this is years ago, 1980, on a wardrobe. And everything, all the skirts were tight-fitting, and I thought, oh, this is wonderful. And I was not in a good space in my life, but I was thin. And when I look back at those years, that lasted for 2 years. They were most unhappy years of my life. I had terrible, what's the word for sleeplessness? All of a sudden words
it's okay.
leaving.
No, it's all right. You couldn't sleep at night.
I couldn't sleep.
Right.
And I cried a lot. And I was, and I had trouble working. I had trouble concentrating.
But wait a minute. You also had 3 children.
well, my 3 children in 1980, I mean, they were teenagers already.
Yeah, but you had 3 children that you were responsible for.
Well,
so,
that's true.
You start adding all this together. You weren't just...
And my mother was widowed, and...
so a lot of pressure on you also.
Yeah. And I needed to earn a living.
So wait, but let's go back. So when you were 11, before that, you were thin. And it was only through eating that you believe that you then got heavier. It isn't that your body couldn't be thin. Some people, like I have a large body, and I don't think when I came out of my mother that I was ever a thin person. But now I did do modeling, and I remember my lowest weight, and I have not gotten that weight back for a long time. So, there are people who I could never be a very thin person.
Yeah.
Because that's not my bone structure.
Yeah.
But yet I could be probably 25 pounds thinner. You see, that won't put me into being, very thin like you're talking about. But at 11, you said you were very thin. So maybe your bone structure, I don't know how much more weight you want to lose. You said you want to lose at least another 20.
Oh, now 12, I think.
12 pounds.
Yeah, because I don't think I'm going to do very well. I'm not going to be like this friend of mine that lost 60 pounds because she got really thin. I mean, she must have dropped, I don't know how many sizes of clothes. I don't think I even want to be that thin.
I was going to say, you look very good right now. So
thank you.
If you never lose any more weight, would you be happy?
I would think that I should have lost another 10 pounds.
Okay, so do you have clothing that's waiting in your closet?
No, I cleaned my closet out. That's another thing I did. My husband said for the next book I write, he will not draw the cover. He always draws my covers unless I get some of my clothes out of his closet. And this is his second closet. And he felt very confident that, because we've been in this house 15 years, and my clothes have been in his closet. Well, what happened was I was looking for these drip-dry Columbia pants and shirts because you're going on a month trip, and you want something you can launder overnight.
You should have gone to Chico.
I couldn't find them. No, they were bought, at the
I see.
Bass Pro Shops
or
Gander.
Right.
I couldn't find them in the closet. I couldn't. I mean, gotta understand if you know what a hoarder's house looked like. Well, my closet was like that.
Is that right?
If you wanted to get in a suitcase, you had to clear out some stuff and make a path. So I got into my closet and I just suddenly said, I've got to find those shirts. So I started really taking things out of there and saying, I can't keep all these. I started loading up enormous, not regular garbage bags, but the large trash bag. So I had 3 trash bags of clothes, and I didn't even have more room in my cart. I took them to the Salvation Army, and most of them were in perfect condition. And I wasn't done. That was only half the closet. So now I found the Columbia clothes, put them in a suitcase, took it to Newfoundland, and they weren't comfortable. They weren't comfortable for some reason. So I mostly wore T-shirts and a couple pairs of jeans. But that's beside the point. I cleaned out the closet. I cleaned out my clothes out of my husband's closet. And I'm still working on that closet because I got some other stuff in there.
Well, if our listeners are like anything like I'm feeling, I only have the one closet, and I'm feeling that I should do just what you said. I'm always worried that, well, maybe I'll want it, maybe I'll use it. I probably should go through it too, and I probably could get 50% out and say, I don't care if I wear it, I don't ever wear it, it's gone. Bill used to say to me, if you haven't worn it in a year, get rid of it. Well, but I have things 20 years old that are gorgeous and that I still wear. But I wear it. But I'm going to look, and you've encouraged me. This has been a great show because I think I've learned that from you too. So between Dr. Mencia and what he told me about eating half of this and eating half of that and having this, and you're talking about the dessert and about the clothing, boy, this has been my great show listening to everybody. And Leah, thank you. I love when you come. The Husband Who Kept His Wife Fat by Leah Hope Becker. I know she's writing another book. We haven't had a chance to talk about that. We'll get her back again. Thank you, and you just keep doing what you're doing because it's you're in great shape.
Thank you very much.